I'm going to demonstrate how I think you might replace a pair of treble hooks, either one or both, on the bottom of a popular fishing lure from North Carolina. So on this lure we have a 1 ounce or 3/4 ounce head. We have a treble hook on the underside, and then we have one in the back. And so if I cut that wire, if I cut this wire here, then I can start to take this apart. And what I find is that the treble hook in the back is just sitting on a loop. The loop is a little bit more than 1/8 of an inch in diameter, and the loop is made with 3 twists on the wire. It's a pretty heavy gauge wire, and if we pull it out of the back of the lure, you'll see that there's a pretty long tail on that loop, so it's tucked up in there pretty good. And then this longer section is what actually sticks out the bottom here, passes out this hole, back in through this one, and then out the top. Here's that lure again. So we have a loop here in the back, a couple 3 twists in there, a long tail, and then the other end comes out this hole, passes through the treble hook, goes up through this hole, and goes up here to form a loop. And it's actually going through the weighted head. This hole here is drilled through the shank and through the head itself, or through the shaft and through the head. So if we wanted to replace those 2 hooks, we'd begin by cutting this wire here, taking off this bottom hook, grabbing a hold of this top loop with a pair of pliers and pulling it out. It takes quite a bit of force to get it out of there. And then we can just pull this back treble hook out and the whole tail section comes out. So when we want to start putting this back together, we're going to take a bit of heavy wire, and I'm demonstrating this with some lightweight steel leader, but you would definitely need to use a heavier gauge wire for this. So we're going to put the treble hook on this bit of wire and get a loop into it, and I've already started this loop just on the end of my pliers. I want to keep that same size loop on there, and I'll put a couple 3 twists on here. Of course, with a heavier gauge wire you're going to have to do this with pliers. And then we'll fold that tail back down. So we've got the treble hook sitting on a loop, the tail is there, and then we've got a length of wire. I've got about 8 inches here, and that's what we're going to use to thread back into the lure. So I'll take that bit of wire. Actually, this might be easier if we put a little hook on the end here, and I can feed that hook down through the hole. It takes a bit to find it. Of course, you have to have it facing in the right direction too. So once you get there, you can feed that through, cut off that little hook on the end. So we'll pull this tight, and as we're getting up near the end, we need to feed that tail in there. So now we've got our treble hook hanging off the back, we've got the wire sticking through the back hole in the bottom. We're going to thread that up through the head of the lure. Actually, before we do that, we've got to put our treble hook on. So this is the bottom hook. That's on there. And we're going to thread this up through, pull it as tight as we think we need it. going to take this wire and push it back down through the hole. And when we get the loop to the size that we'd like, leave it a little bit big, and we're going to take our pliers and hold the bottom, and then just put however many twists in the top, maybe 4 or 5 twists. And again, with a heavier gauge wire, you're going to need to use pliers for this. So now we've got the loop in the top, the treble hook on the bottom, treble hook in the back, and we're just going to cut this extra bit of wire off. Try to cut that flush. You'll need a pair of dikes to do that. Cut it off flush, and you've roughly got the same lure, but with your different hook.